Sometimes the people we push away are the ones sent to save us, but deep trauma can make it almost impossible to trust anyone, even the people trying to help.
In Tyler Perry's 2009 film, I Can Do Bad All by Myself, to a woman whose life circumstances left her with only bitterness and addiction to get her through the day.
April is so stuck in her own grief for the many things she's lost along the way that doing right by her own flesh and blood feels like too much of an intrusion.
The movie dares us to face the hardest question of all. How do you open your heart to love and healing when your whole life has taught you not to?
I'm Heit.
And I'm Cheri.
And you've discovered Axiom Amnesia.
We want to thank all of the supporters who helped to make this video possible. If you want your name to appear alongside these contributors, make a one-time donation of $5 or more via our website at axiom.app, Cash App, or you can head on over to patreon.com/axiomamnesia to enjoy all of the benefits of becoming a monthly subscriber.
There will be spoilers if you haven't seen this film already.
That's right. And before we get started, we wanted to direct you to our video on the Axiom Amnesia channel. Tales from the Hood, The Dolls Were a Prophecy is the basic title of the video, and it's linked in the description. In light of current events, we encourage you to follow the breadcrumbs in that video for some vital information that's pertinent to today's current events. If you're watching this, chances are Tyler Perry has you hooked. Whether you love his films, love to hate them, or just can't resist them as a guilty pleasure. But here's what you might not know. We already have gone deep into Tyler Perry land. We've got entire playlists breaking down his stories, his characters, and all the drama you can't stop talking about. So don't miss out. Hit the description for links to the ultimate Why Did I Get Married playlist and the ultimate Tyler Perry binge playlist. Trust me, you'll want to binge these and share them with your friends. April, a nightclub singer who drinks too much and whose child-hating married boyfriend, Randy, pays bills at the house left to her and her sister by their father, finds herself facing her past.
Y'all can't stay here, okay? I got a man and he don't like kids, so y'all gonna have to figure something else out.
When she's confronted with needing to care for her niece and two nephews, Jennifer, Byron, and Manny.
These are not my kids. You know what you need to do? Take them to my mama. That's what you need to do. That's what
Jennifer is 16 and has been caring for her brothers who are other-abled and have special medical needs.
You can't smoke around him. He has asthma.
Girl, this is my house. You can wait outside.
Byron is mostly nonverbal and Manny is an insulin-dependent diabetic with asthma.
The children's grandmother, April's mother, who had been caring for the children, was missing for 4 days before it was discovered that she died of a brain aneurysm.
She died.
What?
On her bus ride home from work.
She was on the bus all day. No one noticed.
And she has gone unidentified for so long that all that was left were her cremated remains.
They cremated her.
Oh my God.
These are her remains.
Sad. At the same time, Sandino is this handyman that the church sent to help repair April's house in exchange for a place to stay.
Anything fixed in your house, I can work for room and board.
He's observing all of this dysfunction and he tries to help where he can.
You bought his insulin. I was gonna do it.
As the movie progresses, we find out that the children's mother was an addict who put them through hell and eventually died of her addiction.
I was so strung out. She screwed those kids up.
April was molested by her mother's boyfriend.
He told my mother he didn't do nothing either.
And the mother didn't believe her when she told.
Right. And we also have evidence that abuse was taking place, more than just that in the film. And so that's just kind of a summary of where we start this film. And as we get into it, what has happened. And we'll talk about the conclusion of the film as we go along. But there are a few high level themes that I feel like we should discuss. One is the theme of abuse. There's a theme of selfishness here in this film, a theme of addiction, mother-daughter dysfunction. And so we'll try to touch on all of those and give the examples from the video and just, how it affected me watching it too, because I was really surprised because I had seen this movie before, but for some reason it touched me a little bit differently. Maybe I was hearing some different things this time around, but I'll share that with you as we go along.
So when the movie starts off, we see Taraji P. Henson, and she got an afro and everything, and she's a singer, and she plays April. Juxtaposed with that, or after that, Taraji P. Henson, she sings a song, and then we are introduced to, Medea, and she hears a noise, and basically it's some kids, Jennifer, Manny, and Byron, who are still in the VCR from Medea, like they're crackheads or something.
What the hell?
And then Medea caught them, and then she fed them and all that stuff.
Y'all eat like y'all ain't ate nothing in days.
I don't know why the hell you feeding these, Jerry.
And, she's giving her speech because it's Medea, talking about you have to just ask people for help.
Well, I can help y'all if you ask me to help you. You ain't got to come breaking in the house.
And then that's how we find out that they ain't seen their grandma, Rose, in 4 days.
We haven't seen our grandma in 4 days.
4 days?
And that their mama is dead.
Where your mama at?
Dead?
Right.
Well, how about the fact of how could that even happen? That nobody is out scouring. At one point, the kids are out looking for their grandma that's been missing for all these days. But nobody is looking for her. And that was just tragic to me.
Yeah, because sometimes it's like, hey, you didn't show up for work, or I don't know. But the whole part of not being able to identify is kind of weird to me. Want us to cover your favorite movie ASAP? A one-time contribution of just $50 or more to Axiom Amnesia gets you a deep dive on demand, a 30-minute discussion on any film you choose.
It's easy. Step 1, send $50 via our website, axiom.app, where you can pay via card, Apple Pay, or you can pay directly via Cash App at $Axiom Amnesia. See the links below. Step 2, tell us your movie, email, the name you want to appear on screen, and what kind of deep dive you want. General, a specific character, a particular aspect of the film, etc. Step 3, watch your deep dive on demand with your name listed as executive producer.
Lock in your deep dive on demand today and hurry. Spots are limited.
This offer is not valid for filmmakers or distributors. Subject to availability and terms apply.
We got a bunch of stuff that they introduced us to, Tyler Perry introduced us to early in the film, right? But so it turns out that the singer April is their aunt, and she got a dude at home who has a pregnant wife.
You sound real happy.
She's pregnant.
Congratulations.
Right? Because Medea was like, hey, I want my money. Who do y'all know? Who do y'all kids know? She take her over to April, and they're like all sad. Help us, Aunt April.
And she just is unsympathetic really in the moment. She just y'all, she's being bothered. First of all, it is during the day and she works at night at this nightclub singing, and so she sleeps during the day. So between that and her excessive drinking, she doesn't really seem like she does a lot during the daytime. It doesn't involve her married boyfriend.
So we have so much. So we have a grandmother who is missing. We got 3 kids with nobody to take care of them. We have them stealing, on top of nobody being able to take care of them, or a reason why. And then we have an aunt who just don't want to take care of them because she's just like, no, I ain't helping them. I'm not taking them in, but she begrudgingly does. And, we got that she has a side dude. Well, she has a dude and she's the side chick to a dude with a pregnant wife. All of this, and I don't know.
The
that's
first 10 minutes.
First 10 minutes.
There's clearly just a lot to take in. And from the beginning, April comes off as just a terrible person, really.
Yeah, she comes off as selfish. But at that same time, because everything has to be connected, you have Sandino, who is some immigrant. He goes to a church for help because Jennifer leaves from April's house and stuff. She's like, I ain't staying here because basically she don't want us. And he's a handyman, Sandino. He shows up at the church. He's asking for help, because he's a handyman who's an immigrant.
Plenty of tools, plenty of supply. Don't have much pay, but we will pay you something.
So then Jennifer shows up and she's stealing medication from somewhere, and she's being chased and she gets caught.
Stop that door now. Come here.
Let go of me.
We find out that Rose, the grandmother, is a member of the church, and Gladys Knight, who is Wilma, recognizes Jennifer as Rose's granddaughter.
Jennifer.
Miss Wilma.
You know this child?
Yeah.
And then Pastor Bryant, who's at the church, he brought Jennifer back to April's house And then he has this proposition to April, like, hey, you can move this stranger, Sandino, into your house. Please do this for the church.
There's a handyman at the church today. Just listen.
So all in, the first 10 minutes, now she has 3 kids who she didn't have before and a stranger. Like, what kind of proposition is that, though?
And that just seems weird, even because they didn't know the kids were going to be there. So it seems weird that the church is like, yeah, just go live with this single lady at her house. That's just like the church. That's what they do at the church. Go to the comments and let us know. Is this kind of how the church does? I understand people need places to stay and need to be housed. But are they ever worried about, safety in other situations, just letting somebody roll in on a woman at her house, even though he's going to work in exchange for, a place to live, but still.
Yeah. Sandino shows up and April basically locks him in the basement, say, you going to be down here. The kids are later on, upstairs or wherever, because April, she has to go to sleep because she, up at night because she's trying to get paid however she's getting paid. She's screaming for the kids to shut up, and they're trying to portray her as bad because she works nights, basically.
Mm-hmm. And because she drinks. And because she, she works also at a nightclub.
She wasn't drinking when she was screaming at them, though.
Well, but, next to her bed, like she has a wine glass and stuff. So they make it really clear that she just drinks to get through life. And by the way, the pastor is actually played by Marvin Winans. And then, the church lady is played by Gladys Knight. So the other thing that is exposed, as we had mentioned earlier, is that one of the kids has asthma and diabetes. And the other thing is that April is like smoking all over this kid, and Jennifer's like, hey, you can't smoke around him, he has asthma. And like April's like, this is my house and I could do what I want, and she don't care about anybody else. So it would seem she's just like, I do what I do and other people around me live with it.
So now we had a situation where we have these kids who come out of nowhere to live with April. And then we have this stranger man, but we have the side dude who stays with her. Basically, I don't know, he don't ever go home, but he's getting calls from home, but he's always there. He's always sleeping, but he's complaining about the kids in April's house.
Hey, what the hell are these kids doing in this house?
And he's disrespectful to Sandino.
Mm-hmm.
I said, you legal Mexico? Huh?
And the side dude, actually, Randy, says that he pays bills there.
Right.
And immediately we see that he is looking at Jennifer as she passes by, the 16-year-old girl.
And we already know it's just going to be some nonsense.
Yeah, and one of the things he says is, I got something for little girls who think they grown.
I got something for little girls who think they grown.
And Jennifer is like, I got something for grown men who think they got something for me.
I got something for grown men who think they got something for me.
And, the fact that that was on her radar also cues you in as to, what the deal is.
Yeah. So that's the whole setup of the house, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and another thing is we're always talking about fast, and, Randy, the boyfriend, he calls Jennifer fast. Like, Jennifer is literally doing nothing except just being in this place that she is not familiar with her aunt.
Somewhere she doesn't even want to be.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, so I would say that, we do see that Medea and her brother are in this film. And what's going on here, comic relief is needed greatly.
Bruh. Yeah, so that's one thing that they used early in the film. So the kids go to Medea to work off the money because Medea went to April because I want money for the VCR that was broken because they dropped it when, because this is like, 2007? Why they still got VCR like that? They dropped the VCR when Medea caught them stealing.
So basically, the other thing that happens is because the Gladys Knight's character becomes aware of what's going on with these kids and that the kids are her neighbor and church members, fellow church member, grandkids, and she knows about April. She's like, trying to impress upon April, hey, you need to step in. Your mama is getting older and she needs help with these kids and stuff. So she shows up at the nightclub, tries to convince April. She also mentions that her mother had high hopes for April. So like in a lot of ways, clearly from the outside looking in, April is a disappointment, at least to her mother, and her mother tells other people this, right?
Dang.
Mm-hmm. That's hurtful right there. That's hurtful. We got to come back to that. Then at the same time, Medea is spending time with Jennifer, the teen, and she's asking her, like, basically, why is she so nasty? And with an attitude like that, you're going to be all by yourself your whole life, she tells her.
Yeah. So one thing that isn't so great is she was like, why don't you smile or whatever? And Jennifer is like, I ain't got a lot to smile about. But then the response is, yeah, I'm going to give you a mirror so you can see how pretty you are. Like that.
Yeah.
When you get through cleaning that window, look at yourself and see how pretty you are.
That is always often said when there's something that's, internal that's going on. A lot of the times we get people talking about, you're so pretty, you're beautiful. Just think that you're beautiful.
Just
look
focus
at yourself.
on that and nothing else.
Yeah.
But you know what? I think Tyler Perry did make a good decision with how Madea responded, because I do think she is typical, and that might be a typical response of a woman of her age. Who exactly knows what age that is? But, it seems kind of typical, like we're not going to talk about, because, we do have kind of this thing within our culture where we don't talk about the things that pain us most deeply and whatever's really going on. We go, oh, just look at the bright side, and just focus on something else and you'll be all good. Just be grateful. And I agree, gratefulness is important, but at the same time, it is not a substitute for addressing the issues that are going on in a person's life,
Yeah.
And so, yeah, she says she doesn't have a lot to smile about, but also Madea is telling her, out of Medea's wisdom coming from Madea, that, good things are going to come back to you if you're good to other people, and you're going around being mad at the world, and then you're going to grow up and become a bitter old woman.
You know what happens when little girls like you that's mad at the world? They grow up and become bitter old women if they don't figure out what's going on with them.
So clearly this is a commentary on these, I kind of think the angry black woman kind of stereotype, right? In that moment. But I do think that there's a defense of why maybe some women come off this way. And Tyler Perry lets that unfold in the film.
Yeah.
We do have new merch. Think for yourself and question everything. Break free from the so-called truths they want you to accept. The Axiom Amnesia collection is here. Bold logo t-shirts and hoodies designed for thinkers who refuse to settle for assumptions. Stand out and make a statement. Show the world you don't just go along, you think critically. Plus, it's a great way to support the channel and keep the work going. Get yours today. The link's in the description, or visit us anytime at axiom.app.
So after, the kids go kind of work off some money with Madea, I think Jennifer runs into Sandino coming home. Sandino bought the insulin for Manny. And, Jennifer is like, why are you being nice? She doesn't understand why somebody would, do something nice for somebody, basically someone who they don't know either.
Why are you so nice to us?
I don't understand that question.
Even though you can see that April is sort of like this, right? Where April, she don't want to help anybody, but she still does it. She's forced to, and she knows that it is wrong not to as well. Even though she's going to put up a fight all the time, she knows that this is stuff I need to do.
This. Yeah.
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 And I think that's something about the film too, because they focus a lot on, hey, how come no one trusts anyone else, basically.
Yeah. But the other thing Sandino says is that you should expect people to be nice to you.
You should expect people to be nice to you. You shouldn't expect people to be mean.
He also emphasizes to Jennifer that, all of your choices, there's a price to pay. And he says, a saying in Spanish. That's something for her to reflect on as well, because I think Jennifer is going around acting out of just trying to survive and doing what she in her 16-year-old mind thinks is the best thing to do to get the immediate needs that are needs that would even be hard for an adult to meet with, two children who have special needs and stuff like that. And, she's a kid. She ain't even got a job, and she's trying to make it happen for them. And she says that, I'm all they got, talking about her brothers.
You do a great job with your brothers.
I'm all they got.
And this part, honestly, it did make me cry. It made me cry. And it made
the part about Sandino giving her the medication?
No, the part about her saying that I'm all they got. So here you have this 16-year-old who isn't even grown, doesn't even have the skills of life on how to, survive and thrive, having to be responsible for her younger brothers who you could tell that she loves them very much and she wants to do everything she can, but her hands are tied. And then it's also to be so close to like 18, where you could be grown, where you could legitimately go out and do things to take care of them, but you still got to figure out 2 years. And, you know, and right now also the thing in her back of her mind too is the grandmother is missing. They don't know what, they love their grandmother. They don't know where their only main caregiver is.
Yeah.
You know, so there's a lot going on for these kids, and it's really sad.
Sandino then, you know, is with April, and he's just like, hey, I'm going to make a room for the kids. So, I don't know why the whole room thing is kind of there. I guess you get a little, somebody is setting down something permanent for the kids, you know, that they want to put throughout the film, but I don't know how necessary it was. I don't know how that symbolism played, but the pastor does show up with Sister Wilma. April kind of changes who she is, right? Because she knows how to act, right?
Yeah.
But it just depends on your environment and the examples, right? When in Rome, when she's not around the good church folks, then she's putting on one air. And then when, you know, she's around other people, she's acting totally different, especially with the side dude.
Yeah.
So it shows your environment and how your examples is kind of dictates your behavior at times. And it couldn't be saying that, oh, you shouldn't change or whatever, but that's sort of human nature and survival. It's good to say, but everyone doesn't do it.
You know, and we cannot ignore the symbolism of the house or the theme of the house. April is living in a house that is falling apart to the point that she is like cut off certain parts of the house where you can't go in there. Like you might fall through a floor, the roof might cave in, whatever. And it is in disrepair. The house is in disrepair and needs help. Then we have, Sandino is the handyman who's coming in to fix stuff. He is seeing needs and he is trying to address the needs of the household.
I'm surprised Tyler Perry didn't name him Jesus.
Shut up. But yeah, no, it was Sandino. I don't know. Maybe we should look up what the name Sandino means because it may have some other meaning. So Sandino is a name of German origin, at least according to, one of those baby name things. It means defender of man. And I mean, the religious implications there are clear, but he could have just as easily been named Jesus.
Because we got Jesus as a carpenter. We got the handyman who is going to do basically this carpentry, fixing the floor and fixing the bunk beds and stuff.
Yes. And the other thing that this symbolism of this house reminds me of is back, and I think it was in the 90s, but I read this book by Iyanla Vanzant way back in the day, back when she was first on Oprah's show, years and years ago. And I think in 90s or maybe early 2000s, somewhere in there. She talks about the house and how you got to go in and clean out the cobwebs and go in the attic of your home being you, your representing you, who you are, your life, your body. And all the corners where you don't want to look, everything that you've piled up and all of your baggage, you need to go in and clean up and clear out. And I'm paraphrasing because it was an entire book. But the point is, it reminded me of that. Like April's life, house is falling apart and her life is falling apart. There is a clear parallel. But at least we see some hope in Sandino in the fact that he is there to at least try to help fix it up. But April can't see it because April is just like so depressed and bitter and angry and just overwhelmed by life in general and also addicted, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. In the midst of all of this, when the pastor shows up, they share that they told the saddest story of April's mother being dead on the bus and having an aneurysm and nobody noticing basically the whole shift.
She died.
What?
And that she was cremated after just a week.
She was at the city morgue. No one claimed her.
Yeah.
And then they're holding where Miss Wilma, that's
they cremated her.
Miss Wilma, that's Gladys Knight's character. Miss Wilma is holding the urn that has her mother's ashes in it. She's like, I put the ashes in here.
I put them in this urn.
You can tell that April is devastated and sad, but then she's also just like, there's something weird there, like a mixed feelings kind of thing. But as an audience, we don't know what the heck is going on at this point. We don't, but she's clearly sad. She pushes the pastor away, doesn't want comfort. And then she, goes away.
I think she hadn't had a relationship with her mama, right? Because it's kind of like, yeah, I kind of went by there or whatever. I don't know where she is or any of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
I just think it shows that they weren't probably in communication.
Yeah,
really.
they weren't in communication.
Yeah. So it wasn't until she found out that, oh, now she's gone, that it's like, oh my, now the weight has hit her.
Yeah, well, you think, and I think people in life, they think they're always going to have the chance to make up or, whatever. And in this case, she hadn't spoken with her mother, and now her mother is gone.
Yeah. She goes back upstairs. She's crying and stuff.
And
but
he's asleep.
He's asleep, and he just basically like, get off of me, right?
What are you doing, man? Sleep.
But I kind of understand that because he don't know that she's crying and stuff. But on film, it looks like, dang, this dude is so terrible, right? So nobody cares about. She has no one to comfort, to comfort her in that moment, except for Sandino.
You want some company?
Sandino, he comes and, they wind up, talking about it. But April clearly has some guilt over her, her mother and whatever. We find out that April hasn't spoken to her mother in for at least a year. And it was because that they had an argument. So then April gives us more of the backstory. So her sister had been strung out and really messed up the kids. She was a crack addict. She had traded Jennifer for crack when Jennifer was 9. She put Byron in the oven and she burned Manny with a crack pipe. Just like the worst stories
the crackiest stories about her sister
that you could ever hear.
She was so high one time she put Byron in the oven.
And so the mother was calling to ask April to babysit, and April refused to babysit because she just didn't feel like being bothered. The mother was mad, and then April just never spoke to her again after that. So the mother needed help, and around the same time, Sandino had given her a hug and embrace. He saw, because Sandino was there to witness when she was told that her mother had died.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, not only is she in her own grief, but then the kids come back and we find out they've been walking the streets trying to find the grandmother.
Where have you been?
Looking for Mama Rose.
And April has to break it to them that the grandmother is dead. But it's interesting because April tells the kids, she says, my mother died.
My mother died.
She didn't say your grandma died. She didn't say the one who's been, you know what I mean? She said my mother died. And so that also kind of speaks to, even as she's trying to tell them, her perspective is always going to be about her and selfish, Also, when we find out that Jennifer had been sold for crack, then I think it's an easy leap to understand that she has probably also been violated sexually at some point by whoever she got sold to or whatever was going on with the, crack situation. And so Jennifer's reaction, though, when she finds out is anger. She's angry and she's accusing them. You ain't got to lie just to get rid of us and stuff like that.
Why are you lying?
It's not lying.
You will say anything just to get rid of us, huh?
And
it's denial.
Yeah, she was in denial and stuff at first. But I want to go back to something because when April tried to get comfort. Now, mind you, she got this married man laid up in her bed all day and night or whenever the heck. And she goes to him for comfort. And he doesn't want to be bothered because you're right. He was asleep and she seemed like she was just hugging him and he kind of flushed her off. But like, he wasn't concerned about her. He didn't care what was going on.
No.
He didn't care what could be the problem. All he can do at this point is just to be concerned about, what was going on. So she didn't have that support that she needed in a partner. But then let's be real. You the side chick, you're trying to, I don't even know what she was trying to do, really. She just trying to
get them bills paid, probably.
Yeah, I guess. But back when Gladys Knight's character came to the club where April was and was singing, they actually see Gladys sing. She's singing the church, right? But she also, and I was like, Gladys probably had, her character, Miss Wilma, probably had a, she might have been back in the day like April, right? Singing at the nightclub and trying to get a career off the ground because they were like, oh, look, it's church lady up in here, sing us a song. So then she sings this song, and part of the lyrics of the songs that she sings speaks to directly almost to the situation between April and Randy, her married boyfriend. And so the The lyric is, I need to be something more than just a reflection of a man, and I can't stand in someone else's shadow. I need my own spot to stand. And maybe the name of the song is I Am What I Am, maybe. That's the name. I'm not sure. But you guys can go to the comments and look it up if you're interested in hearing the song.
Lean too hard on someone else.
And I couldn't help but think about the fact that this relationship, right, has her light dimmed in so many ways, right? Because she's clearly talented. She can sing. She can do these other things. But she's just playing the role of, a mistreated side piece, really.
Yeah. So after, we find out that the mother is dead, Jennifer, only thing she could think of is to go to Medea, right? Because the way your aunt is acting, like this isn't she doesn't have comfort here, right? The same way that April doesn't have comfort there. So she goes to Medea, and she really asks Medea if she could stay there because she knows she's about to get kicked out, because she's basically saying that April is going to put them out and, basically give them up to the state or whoever.
Yep.
Nobody wants us.
That ain't true.
Medea tell her she needs to pray or whatever, or was it the other way? Did she?
I think she
asked Medea.
She tells Medea, "Hey, I'm always told to pray, but I don't know how to pray." And Medea,
and Medea taught her how to pray, and we know this is Medea, so you know how that goes. But see, anytime something heavy like this happens, we go back over to Medea's house.
Yeah, and I think we really do. Some of me is like, oh, this is just so silly in the midst of all this going on. But actually, I realized like you do need comic relief in a movie like this. And it made me wonder if Precious had some comic relief, I could have dealt with because people are like, y'all should cover Precious. And I'm like, the emotional endurance that it would require, like I got to save up for that, and I just wonder if maybe some comic relief, I don't know, everything ain't meant to be funny, but it did kind of help break up the most terrible of terriblest situations that is being presented in this film.
I think sometimes you just need to know how bad it is.
That's facts.
So, because in real life, you don't always get them breaks sometimes.
Yes. So April is at the club though, and she's there, and then Mary J. Blige comes over and she's talking to her, and Mary J. did, okay job at acting. But if y'all haven't seen Mary J. Blige in Mudbone, she was really good in that movie. Like her acting skills have definitely increased throughout the years, and she was Mudbone. Y'all need to watch it if you haven't. Go to the comments and let us know, have y'all seen Mudbone? Mary J. Blige basically tells her, look, she says, I have never seen a more selfish person in my life. You are always drunk. And if I wasn't your friend and I didn't love you, I wouldn't give it to you real like I am, but you are selfish.
Always. There's not a day that I have not seen you drunk.
And she talks about her, being with the married man and other stuff like that. And so April's response is like, oh, okay, so I'm just a bad person, like I'm evil, right?
Oh, so I'm just a bad person, huh? I'm just evil.
Isn't this the response though, when you try to, out of love, tell a person a thing about what's going on that you see? And oftentimes the response is just, I'm the bad one. We've seen that in movies. We've seen that in like the real life, situations that go on. It happens. And I think that's just the defense mechanism, because the reality for April is that there is nobody who is making April feel worse than April makes herself feel about herself and about her life. Right. Then Mary J. sings a song.
I just ignore all the songs for the most part.
Oh man, but the lyrics in the songs.
Yeah, but that's part of the work.
While she's listening, while Mary is singing a song, April is seeing a montage of what she thinks might have happened to her mother, because she, obviously wasn't there, didn't see. But, we see the older woman getting on the bus and then just basically dying of the aneurysm. And, April is tormented by the guilt of what happened to her mother. Very sad, I think.
Yeah.
So then we also see later at the house, Jennifer is up and she's rocking Manny because he's had blood sugar issues. And April comes in and she basically is like, oh, I can't keep y'all, but we're going to find a real nice foster home for you.
I think we can find you a great foster home.
Jennifer lets her have it. Jennifer is like, you know what? I'm going to grow up and be just like you and not give a damn about nobody but myself.
I'm going to be just like you. Ain't going to give a damn about nobody but myself.
I was just like, woo, but it was facts.
Yeah,
it was facts.
But she's not, and I don't think that's necessarily true about, I think April did care, but when you have these problems in your life too, you try to wall off all of that too, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like people do now. Oh, I don't care about what nobody say about me. I don't. But you care that
But you do
much,
care.
and you're putting up this front, and that's how she did it. Like she still didn't have to take them in at that point. She didn't have to take Sandino in or none of that. But she does it because she knows she has to do it.
Well, and I
Because
think she also may do it because it's easier to do it than to fight in that moment. And when you are depressed and overwhelmed, like it seems that April is, you're just gonna go the path of the least resistance.
I think that's a possibility, but yeah,
You know,
but the same way that I guess she could have took her sister's children, but she didn't.
yeah.
You know, I'm sure there was pressure for her to take her instead of the mama. You know, and she pushed back. But yeah, I think that's possible.
For those of you who don't know, you should visit axiom.app. And you'll be able to look at all of the recent videos across all of our channels. And I'm putting that on the screen right now just so y'all can see it and see what it looks like. Because there are a ton of videos that are over there. And also, I think that there are at least about 100 exclusive videos that are available for our Patreon members and our YouTube members. So, you know, if you're interested in more of our content, as I've seen many of you binge watching, be sure to check those things out. But then I think that we start getting some hints, as I can do bad all by myself, as to why the film is named this, why this is like the theme song, you know, and all of this, you know. But hey, just when it gets so bad, we see Sandino come back in.
Yeah,
you know,
they go on a
the
date.
defender of man. He comes in and he takes her on a little paddle boat, and they in the boat, and it's kind of romantic.
Is it a paddle boat or a pedal boat?
I think it could be acceptable either way. Didn't we look that up sometime?
No, the thing is, there was this Wheel of Fortune puzzle that was like that. But yeah, I pronounce them both the same, paddle or paddle.
I say paddle boat, but you know,
either
it
way.
might be pedal boat. I'm sure that there may be a linguist or someone out there who just has their opinion on it that they'll put in the comments.
They'll be like, I don't care about how you pronounce things.
But Sandino is saying,
you sleep all day.
Well,
he asked, why do you sleep all day?
Yeah.
And I'm just like, wait, what? So the thing is, does she just go to the club for fun and it's like an open mic night, or does she get paid to be there and perform?
You know, it never occurred to me she wasn't getting paid.
When you show up in a costume and everything, then I'm like, you getting paid
That's
for
your
this.
job.
But maybe she just does it for fun, and because she has this side dude in there who is paying the bills, that she can. Right?
Maybe.
Oh, I could go out and then sleep all day. It doesn't matter if I sleep all day, because that's another thing that morning people will be like, you're sleeping all day. Yeah, but what do you spend your time doing?
That's a sensitive point for me. You know, that is such a sensitive point for me as we digress here. But, you know, I have always been a night owl. My most creative moments are in the early twilight hours, you know, of the night, and I've always been like that. My mother's a night owl. Maybe there's something genetic, I don't know, but it's probably more likely to be environmental. But anyway, my grandfather was a night owl, and all of my life this has been a struggle. I remember as a kid sit up all night reading books because I loved to read, and then, you know, going to sleep at 4 or 5, and then got to be up at 7 or whatever time for school. Like, life is tough for people who are night owls, and people will look at you like you lazy, but you were up while they were sleeping. That's the part that they don't see.
But we still got to talk about the guy who pays the bills. Is all right. They didn't delve into this in the movie. Is it because he works at night and now he's sleeping during the day, and that's when she has time with him? Or does, you know, because it seems he comes there and he goes to sleep, or you know what I'm saying? It just seems that the time, maybe that's all it could be. And also, everything she has seems to be paid for. So what else is there for her to do? These new people just came into her life in this new situation with the kids, right? It may take time to adjust your sleeping schedule, but how do you adjust your sleeping schedule in that way when it's probably tuned to the side dude? Not saying that that's right or wrong, but that is the thing. But I think that is the filmmaker, Tyler Perry here, is trying to point to something about her sleeping all day being somewhat of a character flaw, when if it could be explained like, well, it is a character flaw because she sleeps all day because that's the only time she got with her side dude. You know what I'm saying? But it's not fleshed out. It's just thrown out there like, she sleeps all day. She yells at people for making noise during the day while she sleeps. That means she's a bad woman, not the actual reason behind it, right? Because we don't really get that.
Right.
And is it that, it's just because she's clubbing all the time?
And it's not. Yeah, we are left in judgment of April without fully knowing her story or what's going on. And, I think that's a lesson for real life, right? It's easy to judge people when you don't know all of what's going on. And that doesn't mean that there aren't plenty of things that are objectively wrong, regardless of what your issue is. But maybe this is the grace some people deserve.
Yeah, so some people would say that, if you sleep all day and you have children there who you need to take care of during the day, then that is an issue, right?
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that should have been the question that you pose, right? If I'm a good person and I'm talking to her about it, I don't just say, why you sleep all day? I'd be like, so you have these kids who have needs during the day. Why are you sleeping during those times?
Well, the other part is that Manny's personality is going to be very straightforward and no nonsense. And what you would also notice is that is coming and he's taking charge.
Manny?
Did I say Sandino? Why am I calling him Manny? There's who's Manny?
Manny is the boy with diabetes or whatever.
Sorry. Okay. So Sandino is coming as a man. Maybe that's why I want to call him Manny. But Sandino is really coming as a man. He was taken over as a man from pretty much when he stepped in and realized she was a woman by herself in this home and now with these kids.
Did he
and
really,
that people,
though?
Yes, he did. Because he started being like, these kids need a place to sleep in. Let me start fixing this up. This is what I'm going to do. He started assigning things and doing situations. And I want to make a parallel to this with the baby boy video that we had just put up where we were talking about, Jody and how he was claiming parts of Yvette's car. He put a little something on her car and now he's like, I put this on the car.
All
and
right,
I'm doing,
Taraji.
Taraji is in this, movie too, but this is some years later. But the point is that this is, he is commanding and trying to put things in order, and he sees she needs the help and he's trying to give it. But he also is very overtly, some people might say is rude, right? Because he asks her some things in a very rude way, even later on in the film, and we'll get to that. But he's just flat out gonna say it. He's not really beating around the bush with anybody. Even the kids, when he's talking to them, he's talking to them straight up. Hey, what it means is you got consequences to your actions. Like, he's not gonna be like, well, I understand why you did whatever.
Yeah.
But we still at this point don't even know Sandino's story. But another thing she says to him on that boat is she's like, well, how come you held me like that?
Why did you hold me the way you did when I told you my mother died?
Because he gave her, a very nice hug after finding out that her mother had died.
Yeah.
And he said to her that she needed to be held.
Because she needed to be held.
Yeah, but it was the way you held me.
Now,
how she know that other man wasn't holding her? Is Sandino a peeping Tom?
No. Maybe because the woman that's held don't act like that. Held right anyway. When he said that, I was like, this is very interesting to me. So now he's coming up and he's like, I'm giving you what you need. I'm giving you what you ain't even know you need. And she's all asking questions. Well, why did you hold me? All right.
Yeah. And we know that she likes him because earlier she was like, oh, you fine, basically, when he cut his hair off.
Mm-hmm. And he also, so they're talking and he's like, but you what? You don't know that I care about you by now?
You don't know that I care by now?
Why?
Like, he's there. And then, but this is where, he's overt in what he's saying to her. He's not going to beat around the bush. He's like, you're hiding. And I see the wall that you put up. I see what's going on with you. And I'm going to tell you that I see what's going on with you. And you won't be able to hide with me. You know what song that reminded me of?
What song?
I've been so many places in my life and time. I sung a lot of songs and had some bad rhymes.
I've acted out my life as stages.
Yeah, that song. Because there's this line in there where they say, you came out in front when I was hiding. It reminds me of that line from that song because, that's what people who love you or care about you would do, right? When you can't come out front, they will give you the grace and kind of cover for you and try to help you be able to, get yourself together. And of course, if y'all don't know that song, most of y'all do because most of y'all are, older. But if you're younger and you never heard of this song, go look up that song. My personal favorite version is the Whitney Houston version.
Brano.
What's the actual name? A Song for You. Hello.
Yeah,
A Song for You is the name of the song.
Donny Hathaway.
Yeah, Donny Hathaway
to.
is another version that you should listen to. They are very different, but Whitney Houston's my favorite singer, so I'm going to say her. It reminded me of that. So we already see he cares about her. She cares about him, you know. And then he addresses Randy. And she admits to him that Randy is over there paying the bills. And he asks her, do you love Randy? She go, in a way.
Do you love him?
In a way.
Well, yeah. So that's another thing. I guess that's just from the past, though. You know, time from the past. Hey, do you love this person? The only reason you should be with somebody is if you love them. Well, that should be. Love should be included with the person who you choose to be with.
Right. And he like basically love is not being with a married man and just having somebody to pay with bills. Love is having somebody who's going to be there through thick or thin.
Bro.
So he already, I mean, we know some of the dialogue is cheesy. Y'all listening, y'all know that I love romantic movies. And this was really hitting me in the right place. I was like, he was talking about she need to be held. And he was talking about, like, I'm soaking it up probably like many other women out there. And I know y'all in the comments, plenty of y'all was soaking it up too, what Sandino was talking. Because guess what? We all know, ladies, that the dudes who know how to talk that stuff and actually back it up and really mean it, like that's top notch when he's coming, showing and proving. Forget the empty words, okay? Because what Jody from Baby Boy was giving empty words that wasn't backed up. This dude is like, look, I done fixed up the house. We got something going on with the kids. I care about you. You know, he's making his way in. And I think I told you it reminded me.
The church was paying him to do that stuff, though. See,
was the church paying him? I can't remember. Okay, well.
But see, that's the thing when you're trying to throw all these stuff into a movie, too. It's like, yeah, but the church is paying them, bro. But you didn't have to say that the church was paying them. The church could have just reached out for a favor from her.
Yeah, that's true.
That's
true.
Yeah.
You know, so she says she doesn't love Randy. I mean, so like, at least we feel like, okay, there might be some room for Sandino there, maybe. And Sandino is like, there might be some room for me.
But yeah, so hold up, back to the church thing. I think maybe he was working at the church too, though. So I can't say it's necessarily
maybe both, but I thought
it
it was kind of like the exchange of he got a place to stay in the basement in exchange for fixing up around her house.
And he works at the church during the day.
And he's around at the church. So, you know, later on when Sandino is like, oh, I have a surprise, and he presents the house and stuff, the bedroom that he's fixed up for the kids, then it's a mess because
April has already told Jennifer and them, y'all going to foster care. Right? And so the communication, he been told her that he was building this stuff out and stuff, and he kept going on that road.
My bad.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then now he's presenting the kids, hey, y'all are going to live here.
So Jennifer's mad because she's like, Sandino is getting their hopes up.
Look, why you gotta get their hopes up for? You know she don't want us here.
And so she won't let them stay in the fixed up room, and they're, you know, huddled down, all three of them on a couch together, sleeping. And then April is angry because, you know, she's basically like, why you could fix all this up and da, you know.
Why didn't you tell me you were doing this, huh? Now they're upset.
What difference does it make, April?
And so Sandino, out of trying to do a kind and good thing, has complicated the situation for the people who are there. But at the end, too, April has made the children feel so completely unwelcome and just unwanted in her home. And let us talk about April's father left that home to April and her sister. Her sister died. That house is half them children's house. Okay.
Yeah, but though, so if you have a character like this and you want us to have some sort of sympathy, empathy, or anything, and then you just make them this terrible, where you like, for no reason, you will take your nephews and niece in to live with you. No reason. So then I'm supposed to feel anything about her positively, emotionally. No. You know, you have to give them something that's, for me, you can't just go too far on the negative side for it. Like, I don't give a shit
where
about this lady.
Jumps the shark. And yeah. So then, you know, the next morning they supposed to get up and go to church and whatever.
Yeah.
And
Randy is so bad that he don't want to go to.
He don't want her.
He don't want her to
go
to church.
But check this out though. Sandino come knock on the bedroom door, and it's like we all heading to church now. And Randy is like, "Who is we and how we ain't going to? She ain't going to no church."
Because we're supposed to be going to church.
Well, April ain't going to no church.
You know, and he, you know, so they have their conflict with one another. And so then the kids and Sandino going ahead to church. And then next thing we know, we see Randy and April is getting dressed for church. She's like, I'm going to church. Randy does not want April to go to church.
Yeah, because we know that church is where everybody turns good, right? Especially in movies. And if they would have done it right and not another church movie, it could have been. But they do go to church, and April, this is the point where she's supposed to just turn her whole life around. She been doing bad. She been terrible. She go to church, they preach and sing some songs, and then you like, all right, my life is changed. I know I've been changed.
Y'all, Heit is singing in this episode. But yeah, that is so true. And you know, when they get to church, you know Marvin Winans' character, the pastor, is about to have a good sermon that is going to speak to all of this. And of course he does. And it's part of the sermon is about being a good steward, taking good care of that with which you have been entrusted.
She took time to know what she had and how much of what she had.
And he also points out, he's like, but you know, it's interesting how our love is limited somehow when people are not where we want them to be. So somehow we mad at them because they not doing what we want them to do. And then, you know, we limit our love and we withhold that love from them. And then he also points out that like we cannot help anyone else when we are lost. And sometimes it takes a person who cares enough about you to put a light in a dark place that says you are worth me waiting for and helping you find your way.
Yeah.
Like that, I would tell you by this scene, and you know what, the church music and all of this singing and him and ha and reflection and deep themes, it just emotionally sometimes touches me when I watch this stuff. And by this point in the movie, I was just like, show enough, you know, preach on.
You was crying.
Was I crying at this part? I don't know. It was a few parts where I was definitely misty-eyed. But
that
yeah,
Tyler Perry,
well, no, the part that got
if
me.
You can make somebody cry, you good.
The part that got me was when they started singing, because Marvin Winans started singing and the song lyrics are like, you really just don't want to know. So
I cried so many hours.
The issue is that like you done went out and you done reached out to people. You talked to them. Hey, I'm sinking. I need help. I need this. And they don't want to know. They don't care about your problems. They can't care about your problems. But from your perspective is that they don't want to know. And the other lyrics to the song are like, I'm over it now. And people basically just don't know what you've been through.
I really don't want to know because I can't do nothing too. Either. Like, bruh.
Well, I'll say this.
Who made that other song? Another Whining made the I Don't Want to Know song, huh?
Yeah.
On Bad Boy?
That's the Mario Winans.
Yeah, see? Yeah. That's the second P. Diddy song we can keep.
Oh my goodness. So people don't know what you've been through. All of these themes that will come up in church and in life in general. We see April begin to kind of sing, and you know she has
a bad montage.
Her moment, right, where she's feeling it. She understands, you know, what's going on. But it's just the part where sometimes in life where you feel, you know, really all alone. And so here we have this complex character who has just acted out, but we really still at this point don't know why. We don't know why she's like she is. And we've all met people in the world who we're like, why are you like that? Like, you know, but we don't know their story. And a lot of times they're not going to tell us. They're going to guard that story for whatever reason. One of the things we always talk about here a lot is cutting off your family and not cutting them off, and the grace that people just as people, and especially if you love them, that they deserve, man. So the movie moves on.
Yeah. And then we get to the pivotal scene.
Oh man. So Randy, our word Randy, that's his name from this point, has tried to accost Jennifer. Not has tried to, he did accost her in the kitchen.
Yeah, he's like, I seen the way you've been looking at me.
I seen the way you've been looking at me.
And then, you know, he gets her up on the sink and he's trying to do something to this 16-year-old.
Think she gonna believe you?
But let me tell you, because that man,
Sandino has been watching everybody.
Sandino is on post.
Like I said, he's been peeping Tomming everybody.
No, he ain't. Sandino knew that was a dirty dog from the minute he saw him, and he knew. He said, "I got to."
All right, that's what I'm saying. So he was watching him. He was watching him through April, though. He was watching.
Man, he was watching through the kids. You know, it was an old house. He was watching through the keyhole.
He was watching through the floor on the second floor.
Because guess what? He was in that house, and in that house, even though he didn't have any given authority, right? He wasn't April's boyfriend or husband or something like that. April didn't say, you in charge of this house, but he took charge and he took the responsibility to care for the people who were also sharing that space with him.
So while Randy was doing what he was trying to do, Sandino, he showed up with a 2x4.
Sure did.
And then he
cocked him over the head
Randy's
with him.
Ass,
He sure did. Randy was like, ooh, and then so of course.
Hold up, what was Randy like?
He was like, ooh, ooh. So then of course when April shows up, she's like, what's going on? What are you doing? Get off of him! Stop it! You see, Jennifer there looking disheveled, Sandino holding a 2x4, a bloody 2x4 probably. And
Randy
got lumps on his face.
Don't believe them. Believe me.
Yeah, and they tell him, what happened.
They lying on me, man. They lying on me.
And April is looking, and at this point, we're all looking at April is just like, okay. And
it
we
looked like she believes
it
Randy.
looked like she believed Randy.
Yeah.
I said, ain't that nothing?
Okay.
It's lying,
That's
because that's what we see in movies. It's always that when they're told, then that nobody believes them. That's what happens in movies. But this was a little,
This made me so angry. So then, of course, Randy got to go up and he got to sit in the clawfoot tub and soak his lumps that he got from Sandino behind trying to mess with that girl.
Baby, I think I broke my nose.
April comes in and she's like, tell me what happened.
What happened?
Baby, I told you what happened.
Tell me what happened. She extra calm. Let me tell you. When they get like that, of course, that's a trope in a movie when a woman gets real calm. But I would suggest that if it happens like that in life, bro, you might want to get out the tub.
I seen a meme like that was going around again recently.
And then it was another movie. What's the movie where somebody whoops a dude butt naked in the bathroom with a belt because for cheating and stuff? And maybe was it Regina King who did it? She got with him with that belt. Anyway, I know y'all know in the comments. Off the top of my head, for some reason, I've seen too many movies. I can't think of which one it was. So anyway, the bathroom scenes, and she's asking him, hey, what happened? What went on?
So the thing is, we know what happened. He tells her, none of that stuff happened. He didn't try to do nothing with her. But there's nothing that he can say. It's then we realize that she don't believe him. And there's nothing he can say.
She went
if he said, I was trying to take it, that's not going to work out in your favor.
So he's lying and thinking he could convince her. She leave the room slowly and she come back with a little mini boombox. I used to have one of those like
Everybody
that.
had one, that same little shape with the CD player on top.
Yeah, I think I went to college with one of them. I thought it was something too.
Oh, you was rich.
Shut up. No, I wasn't. But I used my summer earnings to buy my little mini boom box. She comes in and we realize, like, girl, is you finna drop this up on him in this water and shock him to death? She really was. At this point, April has been totally triggered.
Tell me what you did.
April, I didn't do nothing.
And what do we find out? We find out not only that she's finna about to kill him if he don't tell her what really happened, but second,
Lee done the same thing to April.
Sure did.
She's 16.
Baby, calm down now.
April's mother's boyfriend did the same thing to her, and the mother didn't believe her.
He told my mother he didn't do nothing either.
So it comes out that she was raped by the mother's boyfriend.
Oh, so what do you say about that? Because we talked about this.
He told my mother he didn't do nothing. That it was my fault.
About the grandmother being, she was this holy woman who was at the church and everything, and everybody had all nice things to say about her. And from what we knew, she was doing great things. She took in her children, her grandchildren, and all this.
This is, her mother. People looked upon the mother highly, and she had made clearly an error in judgment. Now, we don't know to what degree it was. We don't know if she really did believe her, but decided to stay with the boyfriend and, they just used the excuse that they don't believe him, or if she truly didn't actually believe her. But either way, both are just horrible, horrible realities for so many young women who have a similar story. And I was like, that is just a dirty shame. So at this point, we realized that Jennifer and April are really the same person. They are the same person at different points on their timelines.
Yeah, but back to that, you were talking about how, people are sometimes looked at as,
like a
well,
saint.
no one's perfect,
they're so
right?
good.
Because
they're wonderful. They would never do that. But then
right.
when if you don't deal with them in a certain way, because you know the thing, she knew what her mother did to her. So people are judging her because of what she's not doing for the mother. But what the mother didn't do for her has destroyed her life.
Yeah. So also though, is it, if you find out this one thing about a person, do you just totally write them off too? The thing that happened didn't happen to you, right? You just know this person. Happens all the time. We hear one thing that the person done or supposedly done, and then, oh, you're completely written off. You're the worst person I can actually think of.
Well, I hate to use this saying because I'm tired of how people use it and everyone says it now. But two things can be true at the same time. All right, here's the deal. April was angry and bitter and selfish and depressed because of this childhood trauma that happened to her of just being sexually assaulted by her mother's boyfriend and not being believed and not having that addressed, right? Because the other part is the reason that these children, not just girls too, children and young people are coming forward to say what happened to this because they need help. Stuff that like this that happens to them makes them where many times they cannot move beyond it and they need help. And so even if you didn't believe them, they needed help and they didn't get the help that they needed. But April's selfishness stemmed from feeling like she could just do bad by herself, right? And that since people who should have looked out for her mother, did not in her mind, whether she really did or didn't, this is how she sees it. She in turn feels like she don't have any responsibility for anybody else, not her sister's kids who were also victims, not her aging mother who she should have really been there for, because that's what people should do for their aging parents, right? Not anybody. And this is why she felt justified in this, which brings me to this point of people who have things happen to them. And then they think that because this thing happened to them that people may or may not know about, that they can just treat anybody like any kind of way, including themselves, which Sandino points out about her later. She don't even love herself because she can't, right? She's not loving herself right. So
yeah.
That's part of my
So that's what we find out. So that is what really triggered April. And she's in that bathroom with that radio. And what she actually does is she drops the radio into the tub.
But he somehow managed to hop out
just in time. And he just got a little quick shock.
Yeah. And then, he
got the little baby toe got shocked while it was coming out.
I did not know that there would be like nudity in this Tyler Perry movie because it's like all churchy, and then we get to see like Brian White's sideways nudity.
I like how you said that.
We get to see Brian White.
We get to see, not we
as the
not
audience.
From my perspective. I don't see it as a we get to see. I like, oh man, they made us see.
Okay, but if it had been Taraji, then you would have said we get to see, So, the other thing she says in there is that her mother was always like, "What happens in this house stays in this house," is what her mother used to say.
Yeah, but I think so. It's very easy to just take phrases and cliches out of context too, because it don't mean that you don't say anything about what happens. It means that real family business is just family business. Just like with any other thing, there are certain things that are private. But the problem is not knowing which is which. And with kids, they don't know which is which because they may think that something that can be said outside shouldn't be by way of violence, because later on they catching a whooping for something they didn't know that they did was wrong or said was wrong outside of the house.
It could be misinterpreted. And I mean, culturally, I don't really know too many people. Like that was kind of like, if not an explicit, maybe an unspoken rule in my home.
Yeah, it's just family business.
You just whatever's family. You don't be telling the people our business.
Yeah,
like no, that's just not what you do. And even to this day, it's so funny because people will probe about your business. People will guess about your business. And one of the things that I actually, and this may be just like a character flaw of my own, but like actually at some point I just started to get joy from people making up what and hoping that I will confirm a thing when they are trying to be in my business. And I have just grown comfortable with just letting people believe whatever they want to believe.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm going to let you believe whatever.
So from all of this, though, about the whole family business, all of this abuse and stuff that's going on.
Oh, and Sandino is up in the doorway when she throws it on him. And so, Sandino's looking at this butt naked R-word Randy on the floor.
Bro, and butt naked R-word.
And because Sandino was trying to get her not to do it.
There is this documentary about Tyler Perry called Maxine's Baby, where they go really extensive, not extensive, but it's heavily about how he was abused as a kid by his father. Yeah, who didn't believe that he was his father? Was that the thing?
Yeah, he didn't.
Yeah,
and that was the reason why at least this suspected.
Yeah, so this is like something that's probably very near and dear to Tyler Perry. Is this sort of thing going on, abuse in the household?
In all
where you're supposed to
forms.
feel safe, right? Yeah.
And, when things happen and you don't feel safe behind them, then that creates all manner of different type of dysfunction in people. And sometimes you don't realize, you'd like, oh, this person does something weird or, whatever. Or maybe if it's I'm doing something weird. Why do I always do this? Other people don't do this, and a lot of it, people love to throw around terms like trauma response and all of that. I'm not going to go there with it, but I'll just say that obviously it does affect you, and April even kind of blames herself because when it's confronted, when she talks to Jennifer, and, she confirms, I believed you when you said it. I believed you.
Thank you for believing me.
Baby, I believed you when you said it.
She didn't seem like she believed her in the moment because she's about to go upstairs and take care of Randy.
Yeah.
But, she believed her and she's like, I should have known that this was what was up because I know that look and I should have known just like my mother should have known. And this is something that ruined that relationship between her and her mother throughout the year forever. And the mother, I'm sure, had no idea that it would be this. But back to the mother. It just reminds me of like the duality of people, right? The mother is like singing in church and the saintly church lady. And, but you got this big pink elephant in the room in the relationship between you and your daughter.
Yeah, but if it's that, hey, I should have known, does she get this sense of, oh, now I have more of understanding of where my mother was at the moment? Maybe she didn't know. And as a kid, without verbally saying it before something happens, she should have known without.
But was the issue that she didn't know or that she didn't believe?
I think it's both. Right? It's that because why would she say that? She should have known, right? Yeah. Because you think that she should have known. So that's part of it too. That she should have not been able to stop it before it even happened.
Yes.
Right? And that's part of the resentment too. And then we get Jennifer that gets all the way to that point and April wasn't even able to stop it.
Yeah.
Before it happened.
Yeah.
But it shows too, she does care, right? About her and other people. And was it only because she went to church or was it just always there?
I think she always had the capacity, right, to care. Maybe I shouldn't say the capacity. I think she had the desire to care, but maybe not the capacity.
But was it that she was just triggered and that's the only reason her response was what it was? Or did she care about her niece enough to react the way she did?
I don't know, because I feel like she didn't know the niece. But what I think is she began to identify, once she realized the niece was her, then I think it all just kind of fell together, for her there. Yeah. But, it's tough to say really exactly what was exactly going through her head. But looking at the situation, she needed a lot of therapy and supportive people in her life. And at least it looked like she started to get that, But just as soon as we start, feeling some level of vindication because Randy got his butt kicked, she goes to work. She's still singing at the nightclub that night. And Sandino shows up and they're kind of having the debrief over what had happened. And he tells her that, Randy is gone. I guess Randy went on back home to his pregnant wife. And he's not coming back, I think is what he tells her. So he's like, look, I don't claim this house. I'm the man of the house now.
He tried to do that meter where you meet them where they are, too.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus showed up at...
He did.
He showed up at the juke joint.
He did. And he came over there and he's just like, hey, so he was trying to be like, things are going to be okay kind of a thing. And that's just not how it turned out.
Yeah, April is like, oh, so why are you so nice? She accused him of being a creep, talking about why are you taking a liking to the kids?
Are you a molester?
child molester Sandino?
Are you asking me this question?
Like she actually says that, see, and this is what people who are, that their experience has them triggered into what I think is not
what just happened to the game
objective
recently too.
Oh, talk about that.
So I didn't see all the posts, whatever. So I may not know exactly what was there, but I seen one picture. You know, the game posted some pictures with his daughter on Instagram, and then all the comments forced him to take the post down. One of the pictures, they would look like they were kissing on the lips and hugging. Is what I've seen. Right. And some other pictures where they were hugging. And that's all I know. So maybe it's some posts I didn't see. But it forced him to take it down. And people just accusing him of doing stuff to his own daughter or being weird or inappropriate and all this other stuff with his. And it may just be because, you know, like this April's response, right? Because something happened to me or because I'm not even familiar with a relationship of this sort.
That part.
That I think that anything like this has to be something wrong that's going on.
And we saw this also, and I mean, you know, not and hopefully not to trigger anybody in the comments, but we, you know, as we have rehashed about Eve's Bayou in that movie and film and the discussion piece about that, and that if you have seen like healthy father-daughter relationships where there can be affection and you can kiss your father and hug him and he can love you, not in a sexual way, and that be a perfectly normal thing. It's like we done got to the point where now, like, damn, a daddy can't even hug his own child, you know.
But some people's experience is that every
man is a predator is really
and it may be happening in their life that there is some sort of advance from every man that they know, possibly, you know.
And I'm not judging that, you know. I'm really not, because I'm acknowledging that has happened.
But
that is very real.
Tell me!
Enough, April!
You get your stuff out of my house, you child molester!
I'm not a child molester!
You have to know that that's not the case for everyone, and there are good people, and it feels very low to have to say that there are good people.
Sometimes your triggering, I think, just doesn't allow you to see that, and I'm okay with that for the people. You know, I think people are doing the best they can to understand what they can in most cases.
But I think that's the kind of thing of these movies is trying to tell you that there needs to be some way that this doesn't.
Well, that was the message, right? The message of Sandino. We know Sandino wasn't doing that to people.
Yeah, but no, not just Sandino, just in general. Like whatever happened to her and with the relationship with her other people is that and I guess they try to say, go to church and, you know, go to religion for this, but that you don't have to be bound by the things that happen to you.
And that everybody is not out to get you. You know, that is really, or prey upon you or do negative things to you. And, you know, like that is unfortunately the disposition of at least an entire generation. It is prevalent in the culture now. It is why you know, half of the Facebook posts are talking about other people who are trying to get you and you know, haters and everything else. So
so basically Sandino is gone at that point. He's like, man, I'm out of here. You know what I'm saying? I can't, because she kicked him out.
See these kids, I want to help them, and you want to get in the way of that. I feel sorry for you.
Yeah, and we had found out earlier also that since he had been on his own in life since he was like 7, he was picking cocoa leaves.
From the time that I was 7 years old, I'm picking coca leaves 10, 12 hours a day.
And the cartel had, you know, he was working for them and he would get beaten, all this stuff like that. So he had a soft spot in his heart for children, which is the whole reason why he took an interest in these children who were needy. Yeah,
because he didn't think that children should have to play an adult like this. Then there are adults who can take care of them.
So then one of the most miraculous things happens like the next day when April and Jennifer are having their debrief of what happened. And Jennifer is thanking April for believing her and then begs her to be able to stay. And April is like, you know, y'all can stay. Okay.
I need y'all to stay with me.
So then Jennifer's like, okay, I'm gonna be here. I'm staying. Okay, that's cool. But she's like, well, you know, Sandino left. And Jennifer tells April basically not to let a good man go.
That's a good man. And I don't think you should just let him go like that.
Like the 16-year-old had to be like, girl,
Bruh.
You done let the Prince Charming walk out the door.
If you find somebody you can trust, you should probably hold on to him.
That's exactly what she says. And so then at the same time, you know, remember the color purple and the maybe God is trying to tell you something moment.
Yeah.
Sandino was at church praying and stuff, and she's over there at her house and she hears the song that's her mama's favorite song, and it's just like, you know,
I just knew she was gonna march on over to church.
I know,
singing.
but she didn't. That was the surprise. You know, Tyler tricked us on that one.
Yeah, all right, you got me, but we know where you got that from, bro.
Maybe
but
God is trying to tell you
where
something.
did
moment.
Medea go?
Medea's work was done, I guess.
Like
I don't know.
Medea, like halfway through the movie, Medea was just gone. Like, but she always showed up at those points that we needed that humor, right? The comic relief. Why didn't we have that after the whole thing with Jennifer and Randy trying to do that to
Maybe
her?
for the very reason you said earlier, because sometimes you just got to swallow that pill whole and take that ugly dose.
No.
Maybe you didn't deserve the comic relief. Maybe you needed to feel it.
I
You
guess
needed
so.
to feel it all away.
Okay, maybe.
You know, and not
and maybe
run
they
from
tried
it.
it. Maybe they edited it out, and they was like, "No, we just need to get straight to the, you know, the turnaround." Because basically, that's the resolution. Because your boy came back, and
He's standing at the door.
He's like, "I love you, you love me. We're a happy family."
Bruh.
And like,
So that's not love. You don't love yourself the way I love you.
that was trash to
It
me.
reminded me of Waiting to Exhale when what was her name? Gloria's man, you know, Gregory Hines, when he's like, "Well, I love you," and then, you know, they had a big old sloppy kiss with each other, and then Gloria gets her man.
Yeah.
It was kind of like that scene to
Yeah,
me.
but so for a movie, should something terrible that happens be the resolution? Because the resolution is Randy tried to get him, so now I just need to get with this man and take in my nieces and nephews, basically. My niece and
Yeah,
nephew.
so
Like,
that is what happened. So she marries Sandino. They have the church wedding, and then they have a block party for the reception.
Yeah.
And everybody's out there singing and, you know, dancing and everything. And that's the happy ending, is the block party wedding reception. So we hope that you enjoyed this breakdown of Tyler Perry's I Can Do Bad All By Myself. We'd love to do more videos on this movie. If you have questions or particular things you want us to discuss, let us know in the comments.
If you made it this far, type electricity in the comments so we'll know you're one of the real ones who stick around to the end.
And be sure to check out one of the videos that's on the screen right now. And also visit axiom.app, where you'll find all of our recent videos in one place, where you'll get links to them back to YouTube so you can watch them here.